Welcome back to the Hurt Sportsbook, more formal, traditional type of way for a huge UFC pay-per-view this weekend. We got to go into it in depth, break down the absolute best plays and bets that you can get for your dollar this weekend. An absolutely loaded card that we're set we're just like everybody else. We've been, also enjoying the cards in the meantime because there have been some amazing cards leading up to this one right here. But this has probably been the most anticipated card of the entire year to this point for amazing reason. It's just an absolute, because you're gonna have a pretty hard time beyond the main event finding a pretty significantly huge favorite that you can really feel super comfortable about and win a good amount from betting. But that's the fun of it. That's what we're here to help everyone get in this just in the mode to make the right choice. I've talked about it before how you can be a bit more risk adverse on a pay-per-view and whatnot, just due to more the fights just being a lot more closer and difficult to pinpoint and whatnot and come up with a real sharp prediction on. But
this card especially,
because
so
you see it, and we've already looked at some of the money line numbers and whatnot. As of right now, which we're recording on a Thursday, and we would usually record on Fridays and whatnot, but we're recording on a Thursday night this time around. So at least, but FanDuel does have FanDuel tends to usually not have every single fights betting numbers and whatnot. But they have their DFS stuff and all that. So we'll just whatever they give to us, we'll get it. We'll talk about. But hey man, I'm ready. If you are, we just obviously take it right from the tippy top with this incredible middleweight title main event between, of course, the defending champion, that is Israel Adesanya, who is a minus 400 as the recording, minus 450 on DraftKings at the recording of this video, facing the underdog Jared Cannonier plus 360. And I'm gonna let you lead it off, because is this so far Israel Adesanya's toughest challenge to date as champion?
I would no, I really don't think so. I think Whitaker is probably the best guy.
Especially considering he's faced Whitaker more than once already. So
yeah, I think he's faced guys like Cannonier before. I think Cannonier does bring some unique problems, but I still think that Izzy is he's so precise on the feet and he's so much faster at middleweight, and the size advantage it really helps. He's a lot taller, and Cannonier I don't like MMA math because it's never right, but he lost to Robert Whitaker because Robert Whitaker picked him apart, and I think if Whitaker could pick him apart, I would imagine that Adesanya could. And it's not Jared Cannonier isn't hittable. Even in the fights that he's won, Derek Brunson was able to catch him, Kelvin Gastelum, he didn't drop him or nothing, but he did have some success getting him. But it's just Jared, I think he's one of those guys that he hits so hard that if all he needs to do is catch Izzy one time, and I think that he can really put him away. But I just don't see that happening. If Whitaker and Paulo Costa and all these other guys couldn't do it, I just can't see Cannonier doing it right now personally.
Yeah, that pretty much plays right into my main point about this fight from more a DFS. I don't really mind too many individual bets from this fight, but from a DFS standpoint, you're gonna see quite a theme with this card in terms of just not even five digit fighters one up, but just that 9K range. It is so loaded. Israel Adesanya is no stranger to it. He's 94. But for me, it's just there's just so many other not volatile, but just better, just better, I feel, scoring fantasy fights on this card rather than as I feel with Cannonier, if you're betting him, you're expecting a finish. I don't think.
Yeah, I think you gotta be.
Yeah, you gotta be expecting a finish. A decision victory seems pretty out there, but Adesanya, it's are you playing him I don't think you're playing him expecting to finish. I think you're playing him expecting I guess a dominant decision victory, but just to win.
I think he can finish him. I don't know if he will, but I think it's definitely possible. I think it matters. It depends on how much Cannonier presses the action, which I think he will
I just don't think it warrants that much prioritization outside of if you really are going at it with Cannonier. I think you could definitely load up on him. $6,800 on DraftKings. He's plus 360 underdog right now. I think there's upside to it, especially if, like we just said, if he's going to be the one. If he's going to be the one getting his arm raised as the middleweight champion, it's probably going to be because he just finished Israel Adesanya. That would be my guess, but I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, once again, I'm gonna be backing Izzy here regardless.
Same here. But I hope Jared wins. I want Jared to win. I think he's such a cool dude. Like, he's so down to earth. Trains out of the MMA lab too, which is a good gym out there in Arizona. And I'm just a fan of him. He seems like a cool guy, and I'd like to see him as champion. He's like the definition of hard work pays off. Because Cannonier, the reason why I back his power so much is because this man was knocking people out at heavyweight, and now he's at 185. So he still packs that punch, especially just from seeing some of his fights. Yeah. I remember when he literally shut Kelvin Gastelum off midway through that fight.
I think it just comes down to whether or not Izzy gives him that opening to land.
Anything's possible with a guy who has that level of power, but against a guy like Adesanya, he's gonna have to really he's gonna have to get it when it's there, or he might never see it again.
Yeah,
it's like Floyd Mayweather. When people used to fight Floyd and they'd say, well, if you don't knock out Floyd in the early rounds, you're screwed because he's just gonna get better as the fight goes on. I think that's the case in this one. If Cannonier doesn't catch him within the first couple, I don't know if he's gonna be able to catch him for the rest of the fight because he's just gonna make adjustments.
Yeah. With that, his, once again, 9,400, I don't think this fight warrants too much prioritization here. Izzy's fine, of course, I'm sure he'll do Israel Adesanya things for the most part, whether or not he wins or loses, but I agree actually too, because I was actually watching the embeddeds leading up to this and saw Max Holloway's
I've been trying to watch those.
I
gotta catch up on it.
I've been really into, I think
I've watched the first two.
Yeah,
I know there's 4, I think,
all
now.
3. Oh, no, there's 3 right
there's
now.
3? Okay.
Yeah, I watched
Not
all
too
3.
far behind,
But Max Holloway's they got the wrong 5-round fight as the main event. And,
this is a big trilogy.
I honestly do think they are going to show it. I really do think they're going to show it this weekend. And that, because, I'm talking about, of course, the trilogy, the featherweight title rematch. Round 3, actually.
Yeah, I was say
between Alexander Volkanovski, the champion, the minus 195 favorite, and the contender Max Holloway, plus 165 underdog. Once again, if all Volk really has to do is just continue, just keep the pressure on through the wrestling, the grappling. It's just
I think on the feet too. Honestly, the thing with me is remember when Max fought?
I do think Max still dictates a lot of how it goes on the feet.
I don't. I think this fight's a lot different. Even against Yair Rodriguez, he's eating leg kicks left and right. That's one part of his game that's just never improved.
That's fair.
And let me say this though, because Max's point for the first fight, because if you remember then, that was the one that Volk won kind of more clearly, and people were talking a lot about the leg kicks, and Holloway's point was well, they weren't doing that much damage. But the thing is, the judges don't give a shit how much damage they're doing. If he's hitting you with 100 leg kicks before round 4, that's a big deal. It's still strikes that are landing, even if they're not affecting him that much. That's my thing, and I think that Max's game relies so much on pressure. He's inevitably going to get hit with them. And I think Volk has just looked unstoppable lately. I think his confidence is at all-time high. His past 2 fights with Ortega and TKZ.
Volk just gets better as the fight goes on.
That too. Not like Izzy, ironically enough. Training partners and all. But that's the other thing. Volk training with Izzy, I think that matters a lot too, because you're really getting good looks in that gym. He's also got Dan Hooker. I think Dan Hooker actually would be a good sparring partner for a matchup like Holloway, just because Hooker has a similar style.
Yeah.
But I disagree though. I really think that Volkanovski is I think he's as much
So
as I
then-
hate picking against Holloway, but
I'll ask. So, do you think that the spread should be bigger here for
no,
Volk?
I don't. I
So
think
you-
that, I
okay.
do think the first two fights were close enough, like as a whole,
Yeah.
that they should still be close. But I think this is the one where Volkanovski's really going to show that he's a lot better than him. Like I said, he's the number one pound for pound fighter in the world right now.
It's just
and
kind of
I
weird
just-
to me because, like, you know, DraftKings DFS prices don't really reflect, like, you know, the numbers. You would think Max Holloway was a much bigger favorite.
Isn't
reflected-
Volk actually
Volk
decently
is,
sized?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Volk is another 9K fighter. You get him for 9K flat, actually. And then Max Holloway is just all the way down there at 7,200. And it's like...
I mean, he's beaten the guy twice. You can't even, like... I get that it's not... Because the first one, I don't know how anyone debates the first one, honestly. But the second one I get, but I still don't say it's a robbery. Like, I think that you could argue one way or the other for Max versus Alex in that one. It all comes down to that third round. But it's like almost like Usman and Colby. Like, these 10 rounds that they've fought, even though the same guys won both fights, you can tell it's like 1A and 1B. So I think this fight, you know, I said this on Instagram too. I feel like this fight matters just as much for the loser as it does for the winner, because I think the loser has no business even staying at 145. Like,
Yeah.
Volkanovski, he's beaten Aldo, he's beaten Holloway twice anyway. Like, and Max, he's already probably the featherweight
thing
goat.
is, if Max Holloway wins, like, I think Alexander Volkanovski's like immediate.
fourth fight, yeah.
He should get like that immediate. Honestly, yeah, that immediate rematch. So it's like, yeah, how's it Alexander Volkanovski's giving 3 fights to Max Holloway, and then, you know, if Max Holloway wins, then Volkanovski.
I just feel like he doesn't really care. Like, I feel like in his head he's beaten him twice. I feel like if he loses, which I don't even think is in his mind.
Yeah,
I think because he's been just like Max. Like, Max has been doing the same thing. Like, they've both been talking about going up to 155. I just feel like the loser of this fight is going to do that.
yeah,
That's what I think.
No, it does make sense. Yeah, exactly, because it's not like it's a rematch. It's a trilogy, and it's not like it's 1-1 either. It's Alexander Volkanovski would have still had 2 wins to Max Holloway's 1.
And I do think you're right, though, in the sense that, like, Alex definitely has less on the line. I mean, yeah, he's got the title, obviously, but, like, in terms of legacy, well, I shouldn't even say legacy, but I guess, well, Max, like, really has a lot on the line for his legacy, because if Volkanovski beats him 3 times, you can't tell me that Max is the featherweight GOAT. I mean, personally, I think Aldo is, but that's just me, because, I mean, like, a lot of people think it's Holloway, though, but I think it's Aldo. Like, people forget before Aldo lost to Conor how, like, crazy good he was. He went on a run, bro. And, like, you've seen that fight with Uriah Faber in the WEC. Like, that's scary, man. Like, that's the best featherweight I've ever seen, is that version of Jose Aldo. But if Volkanovski can get through Holloway, like, considering he's beaten both of them, and then Max 3 times at that point, I think it'd be hard to argue that he's not the featherweight GOAT. But I don't know. I still feel like the loser leaves the division, just because, like, what are either of them going to do? Especially Max, because if Max is losing 3 times, how are you going to get another title shot after that? Like, that's too much. I feel like, and he could get a quick title shot at 155. I think all he'd need is, like, a win, and then they'd probably put him right in there. But, man, that's why this fight's so interesting.
Yeah,
it's like high
for this
stakes.
fight, though, I mean, another 5-rounder as well. I just think, when I look at this fight, one of the first words I think of is volume. Volume is what you want in daily fantasy, and, I mean, I don't necessarily be like, you know, what I was saying about Saruki and Gamera, like, you know, hedge this fight if you're gonna bet it and whatnot, all that. I'm not gonna do that, but
Plus,
at
the
least,
odds are, like, a lot closer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Gamrot was, like, a...
But the max
decent
out,
amount.
at least on for DFS lineups and whatnot, I think in terms of, like, dart throws and whatnot, like I was just saying before, like, pay-per-views, you can be significantly more risk adverse and whatnot. $7,200 Max Holloway, like, you can get a monster score for.
Whoever thought you'd
for that
consider
cheap.
Max Holloway
Yeah.
a dart throw? Like, what? That just doesn't
Crazy.
even sound right. Like, that's crazy. But it shouldn't
That's
be
what
that
it is,
far,
man.
man. That's
what
crazy.
it is.
The odds are
He's
definitely a lot
not
better.
even 8K. He's closer to 7K than he is 8K. So,
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. But Volk 9K fighter and whatnot, the favor here, like, it's all justified and whatnot.
Like, I know I think that Volk is going to do what, like, a 9K fighter can do, but still, like, just because of the past, like, how the hell are you gonna split it that far apart?
Yeah, I guess
Maybe they think what I think.
I guess like the lines must have opened at like a signet, like with Volk as a pretty large favorite, and then
It's possible.
So I mean, then since then have like stabilized and all that, but
Holloway
man,
fans out there,
yeah,
I don't blame them.
It's gonna be banger. Like we're
Just like
no
the
one's
first two.
surprised. Exactly, to no one's surprise. I don't think.
First two fights
get
are
some-
great. I think this one's gonna be great.
Exactly, get some exposure to it. Which takes us to, honestly, in terms of styles and all that, I think a fight like more like legit, especially we've already seen with Max Holloway and Alex Volkanovski. I think this fight right here is like up to this point probably the most interesting fight of the night. Like more interesting than the main event and the co-main between Sean Strickland taking on Alex Pereira. The favorite Sean Strickland taking on the underdog Alex Pereira, and it's not really that like far off from a pick-up. It
was a pick-em when I looked yesterday, so it's definitely staying close. Like
it's very close. It's super close, but Sean Strickland is the favorite as of right now. So, which tells me that I think that the books think that probably Sean Strickland he's gonna bring out the wrestling and it's gonna overwhelm Alex Pereira, and I get it. I feel like just especially with how he's been like coming off so far what he's been saying and all that, like I think he's gonna try to strike with Alex Pereira, and he's gonna try to knock him out, and that could I think it goes either succeeds and does get the finish, or Alex Pereira is backing him into a hole, like he's losing the fight and whatnot. He's then, I don't know at the end of a certain round or during round, but he's got to get him in some sort of clinch situation, whatnot, and really work the grappling, because Alex Pereira could really get him in trouble on the feet. But man, like, a wise man once said, "Styles make fights," and this one I am super here for, and I want to know what you're thinking as well.
Yeah, I mean, I had a hard time picking this one. Like, I had to do like a lot of like research, especially Sean Strickland. Like, I wanted to watch a lot of his fights like leading up to this, and I do think that Strickland can get this one done. People are treating Alex Pereira like he's the second coming of Christ here, just because he beat Izzy like a few years ago in kickboxing. But this is a different sport. Sean Strickland is a great MMA striker. He's got good wrestling. He's awesome in the clinch. He's good at making like a dirty fight. And personally, I think that's what's going to happen in this one. I think at first it might be like a little bit of a feeling out process, which I think Pereira can get the better of. But I think the second Sean makes this fight dirty, it's going to be a dog fight. But I think Sean's better equipped for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Strickland's actually the cheaper fighter right now as well between the two. Pereira is $400 cheaper. You get Sean Strickland for $7,900. Pereira $8,300. And Strickland's the favorite as stands right now. I mean, like, yeah, I don't like. I'm just thinking about like, is this gonna turn into a pick'em or is it not?
I hope it does. That makes it fun. I love like when they show the tail of the tape, and then like when they say the odds, and you see it, like this one's a pick'em, and it's like, oh fuck, like this is really a good one, man. That's like, oh, this is a good fight, man. I love this matchup.
Yeah, man. So
we were just talking too. Strickland was all time at the press conference. Like, obviously the time of recording this, it's like barely even an hour out from it, but just already seeing all the clips and stuff, just messing with Izzy and stuff. Like, I want to see that. I honestly want to see that fight more than I want to see him versus Pereira again, just because like I get that there's a story there, but Sean Strickland is one of the funniest people I think in the whole UFC. Like, there's people who hate him, but I am not one of those people. I think he's hilarious, bro. He has no filter.
The people that hate him are just the people he offends.
That's very true. That's very true. I'm sure some people were offended at the comments he made today about Izzy's fingernails. But yeah, no, that was an all-time press conference. Honestly, good job by Sean Strickland setting up a future fight there. And honestly, obviously with Pereira, that fight's already set up if he wins. So this is a true number one contenders fight at 185, and that's what makes it so big. It's always good when it's on the same card as the title fight.
I can't wait for this one. Like I said, it technically reflects in the odds as well. Like with how close this is. Like up to this point, the fights we talked about so far, I think it's the most interesting fight so far. But this one, honestly, no different, and actually, literally the same exact odds for the favorite and the underdog in this one as well. Which, I mean, all right. I have no real qualms with it, but I don't think that should be the case. I don't think it should be this close. This bout between Robbie Lawler and Brian Barberena, two UFC OGs. I love these kinds of matchups going at it here. And for me, I just think Robbie Lawler should be the clear favorite here. I don't think
No. Nah. I'm sorry, buddy.
No.
Put your nostalgia away.
No.
You're not, bro. He's not fast enough. Let me hear your reason. Tell me why. It's a scheduled thing. You can't tell me it's Robbie Lawler. Like, that's not a reason. That's his name.
It's just who Brian Barberena, who Robbie Lawler have faced.
But the Robbie Lawler, it doesn't matter. Like, he's not the Robbie Lawler that was the champion anymore. It's a different.
It doesn't need to be for a fight against Brian Barberena.
This is gonna listen. I watched Robbie Lawler versus Nick Diaz in that last card. Robbie Lawler ain't the same guy, man. He's just not as fast. Like, it's not Brian Barberena. Like, he's been in some dog fights and he's got a chin, dude. I hate myself for picking against Robbie Lawler, but I have to. It's just like I have to tell the people what I think. It's just like I think Barberena, like, he's still, in the game. Like, I think he's at an age where he can still, like, maintain, and I just think he's a lot faster than Robbie Lawler. Like, Robbie Lawler wasn't even faster than Nick Diaz. Like, and you saw how Nick looked in that fight. Like, he was landing combinations, but if Nick was fighting anybody who was, like, remotely, still in it, like people were taught, like, think about it like this. What did you say, like, when people wanted Nick Diaz to fight Kamaru Usman? You're like, fuck no. Like, he looked decent against Robbie Lawler, and if you don't want Nick Diaz to fight Usman, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Robbie Lawler, I think right now is on that same, like, on the exit. Like, it sucks to say because I love Robbie Lawler. Like, he's had so many great fights. Like, the Rory McDonald fight is probably one of my favorite fights of all time, if not my favorite. And then Carlos Condit is right behind it, too.
What do you think is the most likely way for Robbie Lawler to lose to Brian Barberena this weekend?
Decision. I think Robbie can hang around.
You think he gets beat up, in this decision?
I don't think he gets his ass, like, thoroughly kicked. But I think that there's going to be moments where Brian has him in trouble.
I guess I was exaggerating with clear favorite, but
I think he should be.
I do think, like, as of right now, like,
I do, trust me. I hate myself for saying what I'm saying. I feel like
he's my favorite. He's my favorite. Favorite of the card so far.
I feel like I'm being sacrilegious as an MMA fan. Like, this is fucked up, but it's just the truth.
Hey, man. We have to give the people the truth. We're here to do nothing but that. And then, talked about before, when we're on the other sides of fights like this, whatnot, chances are, like, it's going to be a pretty good fight.
I think 100%. Like, Robbie's not going to, like, look terrible in there, but he's not the same guy. Like, people just got to realize this. He's not the same guy who beat.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you the kinds of bets, like, you get plus 180 if he wins by decision, plus 350 if he wins by knockout. Like, I really don't think any of those are really all that much worth, like, putting too much of a high volume on. But, hey, man, as it stands, like, if this is going to stand with Robbie Lawler as the favorite, like, I like it. Like, I'm on it, but
it's definitely going to be a slugfest at the very least. Like, I think that Lawler, because Brian Barberena, like, obviously I'm, like, giving, like, Robbie Lawler some shit, but even Brian Barberena, like, he's very hittable. Like, he's been in a bunch of wars for that reason. But I just don't think, like, Robbie's fast enough anymore to hit him as many times as he's going to need to put him away. Because Brian Barberena is one of the toughest motherfuckers in that division. And that's why he's been in so many wars. Like, with guys like Luke A. There was another one that he was in that was amazing. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But he's truly, like, one of the... he's one of the most underrated, like, just dogs in the whole UFC. Like, he has so many good fights. And I think this one will be a good fight, too, win or lose, honestly.
I guess it's being shown here. I mean, because he's actually, I just think, so the odds actually just live updated just now, and it's back to a pick'em.
Damn, that's cool though. I like that.
A pick'em.
Bring them on, man. Let's keep bringing these pick'ems.
I think it's gonna keep swaying. It's like a pendulum or something. Just keep swaying back and forth, and then once the fight actually gets there, it's just it'd be probably like right in the middle. It's probably still gonna be a pick'em by the time it gets to the fight. But There we go. Yeah,
It's
it
a
literally
great
just
matchup.
changed as we were talking about it, so that's pretty dope.
I like, by the way, that the UFC gave him this fight, though, because it's a guy that, like, like I said, I still don't think he's going to beat him, but I think it's a guy he can beat.
Yeah.
Which there aren't as
that's
many
fair.
nowadays for Robbie. So I like that, like, the UFC is giving him some generous matchmaking, at least.
Well, this fight before is very much not the case. It actually features our second largest favorite of the card so far that we've talked about. That of being the -295 Sugar Sean O'Malley, your boy, taking down the +245 Pedro Munoz. And this one right here, this was another thing that we were talked about, and I forget who was saying it, but in embedded, and talking about Sean O'Malley, it's just. Sean O'Malley just always has, like, the tailor-made fight for him at the time, I think. I don't think he ever is, like, being rushed into a fight. It's always scouting out, always a logical, like, there's always, just a, you get the point. Sean O'Malley is not just fighting for a check, pretty much.
He's not your average
No.
UFC, like, bantamweight.
No.
He's definitely getting a interesting, like, step up here. And I think this is honestly one of the better fights, like, for him. Not even, like, matchup-wise. I just mean, like, in the sense that Pedro's in the top 10. He's still really good, but he's coming off a couple losses. So I think this is, like, the perfect step up for Sugar Sean. I think that this is going to be a really good one. And, I mean, I could get into, like, what I think, obviously, but what do you think, I guess, going into this fight first?
Well, I mean, like I said, I just said he's the second largest favorite on this card that we talked about so far. And I think it makes sense. Like, maybe, no, I actually do. I do think the numbers are actually pretty accurate. Like, because I think Pedro Munoz obviously has, like, the path, like, the avenue to beating Sean O'Malley, and it's through the ground. But, man, like, speed is going to be so vital and crucial in this fight. And Sean O'Malley just has it over Pedro Munoz, over a lot of guys in the bantamweight division. And
I personally think all of them.
Yeah.
No, all of them.
Yeah, man. Like, in that case, this is not a good fight for Pedro Munoz. But
this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, if Pedro Munoz can make Sean O'Malley uncomfortable and, like, really have to work that wrestling, like, that's how he beats him, I think. But it's not gonna be, like, I think more comes down to whether or not Pedro Munoz gets finished, on the feet.
Yeah, it's crazy that is. I don't even think Pedro's been finished like that.
Well, that's what Sean O'Malley's been saying and whatnot. Like, he's going in there to be the first guy to do that to Pedro Munoz.
It's gonna be a tough one, but it's definitely possible. Like, I was watching. This is another one that I had, like, a really hard time picking, and I watched, like, a lot of fights in preparation. And what I've kind of come away with, and, like, one of the fights I think that really helped me kind of get a grasp on it was Dominic Cruz versus Pedro Munoz. Because even though Cruz isn't as big as O'Malley, he's definitely got the same type of movement. And he was able to catch Cruz, like, in the movement, which I think is what he's going to have to do to O'Malley, which I don't think he's going to be able to because he's a lot longer than Cruz. But I think the other path, obviously, that Munoz could take, like you said, could be the ground. I just still don't think Sugar Sean's going to get taken down that easy. And if he is, I think he's going to be able to get back up. Like, it's like Neil Magny. Like, he's got long legs. Like, it's kind of, the only guy to really get past his guard was Cheeto, but that was more because, like, Sean's left, or it was right, I forget which leg it was, but whatever leg that Cheeto kicked was pretty much numb. So there was really no guard to be had there. My thing is, like, Pedro, he's going to come at you. He's going to come with that boxing-heavy style with a lot of leg kicks. I think he should use those leg kicks. I don't think he's going to use them as much as he needs to, because even against Dominic, I said he should use the leg kicks and stuff, and he did, like, early, but then he kind of, like, goes away from them as the fight goes on, so, like, they never really end up giving that much of, like, an effect.
Yeah.
So I think that he's going to be swinging, I think he's going to be swinging at air trying to hit Sean O'Malley a lot, and Sean's a lot faster, like you said. I think he's got a great jab, obviously, so that's amazing for someone who's as good as managing range as Sean is. But, like, even just keeping him guessing, coming from both stances with kicks, knees, elbows, even, like, the spinning shit, as Nick Diaz would say. But it's like, I don't know. One weapon I do want to talk about, though, with Sugar Sean, I think is going to be a big deal in this fight, especially because Pedro is a lot smaller, is the fact that Sean is so good at, like, he throws a jab and then he pulls back like he's gonna, like, just keep his movement up, and then usually his opponent will kind of, like, go in, like, that's when he'll try and hit him because he thinks his guard is down, and then Sean comes back with, like, a big power punch or, like, an uppercut straight from it, and that's how he usually hurts guys. And I think that that's gonna be how he could hurt Pedro in this one. But Pedro's a tough dude, man. I don't think he finishes Pedro. I think this is just gonna be Sean picking him apart, and maybe Pedro having some moments. Pedro's going to have to make it dirty. He's not going to win trying to fight him on the outside. He's going to have to make this an ugly fight, but it's going to be rough.
9,300 for Sean O'Malley. Like,
It's
that's
fair.
one of the better. Yeah, that's one of the better price tags for these 90K guys on this entire card. Honestly, and you get that. I mean, at least with DraftKings, they're thinking plus 140 for Sean O'Malley to win by KO. It's pretty that's a pretty high standard right there.
Well, you got to realize, like, all the feints that Sean's throwing, he draws so much movement out of his opponents, and he makes reads. Like, he's very smart in there. Like, people don't give him the credit he really deserves because a lot of people hate him.
Yeah, we were low key. That's him in the cage. We were just talking about his smarts in general. Like, this guy, I see him like he's always getting just the right fight. For the moment and all that.
I know I sound biased, by the way. I got the shirt on, I got the hat, but like, I figured, you got to suit up for the occasion. Like, Sugar Sean is my favorite fighter, but this is all coming from a non-biased perspective. If I thought he was going to lose, I'd say it. Because trust me, coming in, I was kind of nervous. Because I thought about the leg kicks, but then, like, the more and more I watch Pedro Munoz, I'm like, he doesn't, like, if he just kept him up, I think he might actually have a decent shot at stifling his movement, but he usually kind of, like, what happened with Cruz, he was really hitting him with him early, and then when he dropped him, he, like, almost completely stopped with it. And I feel like that's what would happen in this case. Like, I think best case scenario for Pedro is that he might drop him early, but then he just goes completely away from it. So, I don't know. It almost is like the Paiva and the Almeida fight for O'Malley. Like, it's going to be a guy who's there to be hit. And I think that Pedro right now is just... This is going to be the next guy that O'Malley beats right now, sadly. As much as I love Pedro, but O'Malley, I think, gets this one done.
Well, here's one that you just simply won't be. Maybe you will be. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely not, like, can't nearly be as, confident and, like, just adamant on one particular fighter to win a fight. Because this one right here, I mean, I'm just hoping for, fight of the night material just for it, because it already has that potential written all over. I'm just hoping
I already know which fight you're talking about too.
I'm just hoping it actually culminates into that. Between the ever so slight, I mean he's not even like the closest underdog on the card so far, but it's still another really close one. The minus 145 favorite right now, Jalen Turner taking on the plus 125 underdog Brad Riddell, another City Kickboxing member that we were covering on this card right here. They're all over it. So I mean,
the MMA lab is too with Sugar Sean and Jared Cannonier. They're in some big fights too over here. But yeah, City Kickboxing is definitely being well represented. They've been doing a good job on the embeddeds that I've been watching. At showing just how close as like a team they are.
Oh yeah, no, they look like they have a lot of fun.
When they were scaring the shit, you see, because you said you watched it. Remember the first episode, and they were scaring the shit out of Izzy and Alex in the bathroom. That was pretty funny.
And I like how Alex Volkanovski, like, said, like, scared the shit out of me, but he hardly flinched at, like, at all. Like, because I learned from just the Ultimate Fighter the last season how he just nothing ever really scares. I mean, which makes sense.
Yeah, well,
like, he's from Australia.
Remember when he was there, like, he had put all the snakes in Team Ortega's room, and he was just sitting there with no clothes on top of the thing. Like, first of all, I would not want to be in a room with snakes in general, let alone without my clothes on. And then he did it voluntarily. That's the thing, which is, like, unbelievable to me. Like, this dude's different breed. But all those City Kickboxing guys are. It's a different place than here. That's for sure.
And one of them representing, and Brad Riddell, who once again is the underdog, unlike, his obviously City Kickboxing teammates, the champions, who are obviously rightful favorites. He comes into this fight, and just, man, like, this is one of those. It's like, if there's one you're gonna. There's honestly a lot of them, but I think honestly this is the one I want to hedge the most if I'm betting on a certain particular fight on this card, because, man, I really, like, I don't have like a necessary. I can't like the Jalen Turner being the favorite and whatnot. That makes a ton of sense. As Bradley, but I look at Brad Patel, it's like, it's just like, should it be closer to a pick'em? Should it? But this is probably like, honestly, in terms of a DFS, at least you probably like, it's at least with Brad Waddell, who you get for cheaper, and it's not even that much either. Like, I think that's probably what I want to have more of. But man, this fight's gonna be an absolute banger, I think. I just
No matter what.
I don't know. I just don't know who to give it to. Honestly, I'm not.
I got Jalen personally. I think that right now Jalen is red hot, and like I think in his last fight he knocked out I think it was Jamie Malarkey. That was a nice one, and Malarkey is a similar type of fighter as Riddell, and Jalen's just so much bigger. He's got such a big reach advantage. I really think that he's coming in with like his confidence at an all-time high, and I think that matters a lot in MMA. And I really think that I think he's going to be able to get it done.
Both of these guys are just like, in terms of just the most underrated fight of the card. Like, I think this stands to be that as well.
I almost wish that this was on the main card instead of the Lawler fight. Like, I think the Lawler fight would have been good as the main prelim instead of this one. But I guess if you want to put a banger at the end,
I just said, like, this has fight of the night potential written all over it.
We used to talk about the prelim main event. This is a true prelim main event.
Seriously, dude. Nah, man. I'm gonna have an answer by the time like we get to this fight and whatnot. Who I truly feel, but like I can tell you for sure, like none of these guys are gonna be my underdog or lock of the night, because I'm just hoping for an absolute banger, absolute war. Which these two,
I think we'll get it no matter what, no matter who wins. Like,
it's just like who
lands enough to finish the other guy. That's what it really is.
Because like it's that too, like. I'm not even sure this fight even goes all 3 rounds.
But it could, though. Like, I could see it because they're both tough. But it's like, I don't know. Like I said, I got Jalen Turner. He's so winning, and it's all finishes.
Man, these matchmakers, dude. I don't know what they took for these recent cards and whatnot, but they're not missing. And man, I'm so excited for that fight.
They just gave us a few shitty fight nights in the beginning of like May. That was our price to pay.
They made sure to take care of Cowboy Cerrone, who's just had the absolute worst luck with with fights like in the past like month or so. I guess we could even just say this year, but hopefully, like, it's still only Thursday, like I said before, as we're recording this, so we're not too much in the clear.
We literally made jokes last time. That's how funny that was. Like, we were like, in case this fight doesn't get scrapped, we're laughing about it. And then the day of, Joe Lozon can't even stand. I'm like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, are you kidding me?
That fight, that's just a fight I was never meant to. That's like Tony Ferguson, Khabib type stuff right there.
It's really sad. Honestly, it's really sad. And Joe Lozon was, like, completely fine, like, the day of the fight, too, because if they found out, like... You know what's crazy? He said, like, someone on Instagram, like, hit him up and told him how to fix that. I'm like, you're telling me some idiot on Instagram knew how to fix that injury and the UFC doctors had no fucking clue? Like, what are we doing? Oh my God. Jeez.
But, I think the matchmakers, I think, good job finding him, like, honestly, this is a pretty close... It's more how you perceive Cowboys' opponent in this fight. Because honestly, I don't think I had too much to say different from what I did, for UFC Austin. Like, by the way, like, just Jim Miller I'm talking about, who's the favorite as well, rightfully so, minus 195, taking on Cowboy. And it's just, honestly, more of the same what I was saying for Cowboy's fight against Joe Lazone. Like, the furthest fight goes, I think it favors Cowboy, and then the other way around, like, it probably means Jim Miller just finished him.
My view is, like, I know Jim Miller was literally, like, separated from consciousness by a Cowboy head kick, but like we were saying, or like I was saying, I guess, with Robbie Lawler, it was, I just think that this is a different version of Cowboy. Like, I don't think he's the same guy anymore, and I think Jim Miller, especially considering how they've given him all these young up-and-coming guys, and he's just beating the crap out of all of them, he knows he can still hang with anybody in there. And I think that with Cowboy, Cowboy really is just kind of close to being finished. And I think that Jim Miller is going to be able to exact his revenge in this one. I think he's going to be able to beat him. I don't know if he finishes him. Like, I don't think he goes at it in the same way as Joe Lozon, especially considering that he's been knocked out by Cowboy before. But, I still don't think Cowboy does very well in this one, to be honest.
This is another one of those fights where, like, I don't think you're doing too much with from like a DFS aspect. Like, it's more just on the card, like $8,700 Jim Miller's cool, but I think you're really expecting that finish there, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit much, but
And then Cowboy 75 is, obviously, like, I mean, he's more expensive than Max Holloway, but, that's neither here nor there. But
we're just gonna let that one go. Can't disrespect him.
He's another one of those guys that's just kind of there. And yeah, I mean, I like the Jim Miller minus 195 as the favorite as well. That makes sense. All that. Any props you're looking to throw on this fight and whatnot, like, go ahead. But I mean, in terms of for Cowboys' case, like, it's probably you get some serious money on. Yeah. So I mean, plus to win by knockout plus 400. That's not terrible, but
it's just like so wild. Like I think about their first fight, and like Cowboy was so different back then. Like he was truly like in the midst of his prime, and now it's like at the very, very back end. Like he's on hole 18 of his MMA career right now. And yeah, this is gonna be a tough one for Cowboy because Jim Miller is, like I said, he's been fighting killers lately, and Cowboy I don't think is the same as those guys right now.
So a couple more spots on the prelims I wanted to touch on with another the last truly close fight we're gonna cover right here in depth and whatnot between Brad Tavares and Dricus.
I think it's
Dricus Duplessis.
Yeah,
yep.
We'll go with it.
With Tavares, Tavares checked it in as the underdog at plus 125. Duplessis is minus 145, and I wanted because this one this one really is another one that really had me like it's not Brad Riddell like Jalen Turner type of thing where I still like don't have a definitive a winner for this one, but this one was more like going back and forth. But
Same.
Now yeah, and you see, I mean, I don't know, I wonder if you felt the way I did, but I liked especially him being the underdog helped, but Tavares at first was really sticking out to me or whatnot, but then I just really got thinking of whatnot. It's more like Duplessis is got the youth and whatnot. I just think once again we were saying about Sean O'Malley, Pedro Munoz, I think he's just gonna be faster than Tavares in there.
Yeah.
And I think Duplessis honestly he's a more talented striker than he's probably given credit for, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's because he's had some bad luck with fights, getting canceled. I remember he was supposed to fight Kelvin Gastelum on one of those past pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I think we even talked about it. But
yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah.
It's just been bad luck, and I think that with Tavares, at first I kind of actually was like, oh, well, this is actually not that bad of an underdog because he's only really lost to elite guys. I know he's lost to Yoel. He got knocked out by Yoel Romero early in Romero's UFC career, but that just speaks to how long he's been in the UFC, honestly. But yeah, I know he's fought some great guys, but I think that Duplessis has the potential to be one of those great guys. And I think that this is going to be a fight that he can win, honestly, against over Tavares. I think that he's a faster striker. I think he's probably just a little bit better everywhere, personally. Yeah. That's just my view on it.
Yeah, I love it here. 8K price tag as well in DraftKings. I think
don't sleep on Tavares, though. I do want to say that because people, I get that he's definition of a gatekeeper, but he's got the skills, that you can use to win this fight. It's just I don't know if you can do it.
I don't hate it. And then clearly the books don't hate it either because he's a super close underdog. So
the books have been doing a good job with the odds lately, honestly. There haven't really been too many that I've disagreed with.
Yeah, they really have. But Duplessis' decision probably is actually pretty interesting. At a plus 400, they really think he's going to get the finish, which, I mean, I can't.
It's because every time Brad Tavares has lost to one of those top guys, he gets his ass whooped.
That's actually really true. That's actually hilarious.
Yoel Romero, I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering that fight correctly, he just that was a typical Yoel Romero brutal finish. Yoel honestly lately has been crazy. We talked about his Bellator fight on here, right? Where he broke that guy's jaw. That was nuts. Yoel is Yoel. Let's just leave it at that.
Yoel.
I don't want to take away from this card right now.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah. It's a different breed.
Well, there's a few more right here because these are relatively...
Can I just say something really quick? And it's about this card. I don't know if you were going to mention this fight or not, but God, I hope Ian Gary loses. I don't think he's going to lose, but I hope he loses.
That was another one where I like Gabe Green. I don't have it once again. I don't have a definitive list. I get why Ian Gary is the favorite and whatnot, but I like the plus money I get with Gabe Green right now. Honestly, like that's like not even really a fight I would hedge all that much. This would more just like I would just put more volume on Gabe Green as an underdog to win. Not to say like he's my underdog the night or anything, but that's just how I'm feeling right now. Like,
I think this is another generous one, honestly, by the UFC. Like
Yeah.
I think he's better than the guys.
Then
that's
what this fight is to me. It's just Ian Gary being offered another guy. It's like, you know,
I can't
make the
stand
most
this
of
guy
it.
though. It's making me sick. Like every time I gotta keep hearing this idiot on his post-fight interviews copying other people's quotes and then saying he's the best talker in the UFC. He keeps saying that to the media. I'm like, since when? I even read the comments. So I'm like, am I the only one who thinks this? And even in the comments, they're like he just steals quotes. He steals quotes. Like he's nothing. Like he. Ugh, it just makes me sick. I know I sound like a nutcase, but it's so annoying every time I gotta see the guy talk. For someone like who says he's like, yeah, let my fist do the talking.
It's not even like he's not a dominant favorite either, which like it leaves me to believe it's just like
at this point it doesn't even matter to me. Like, because remember at first I used to say it was like that was my reasoning because like he's beating these guys, but he's not like destroying them.
Yeah,
it's not even about that anymore. Like this dude could be beating everybody like Khabib did, and I think hate his guts. It's just not original whatsoever. Like maybe that's what he's trying to do. Like he's trying to play up like a heel type of role, but I don't think that's the case. I think he genuinely believes he's one of the best talkers in the UFC, and I think he like needs to get like.
This was one of the fights that was like we were going to touch on a little bit, not go too in-depth about.
Yeah, I mostly want to talk about that. I saw a video on Instagram, bro. It made me want to, like, just rip my own hair out. This guy's comparing himself to Chael and Conor. I'm like, no, stop. Like, you're not even close. Like, literally, like, Stipe is a better trash talker than this guy. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, oh, God. Whatever.
I mean,
he's probably going to win, though. He's probably going to win. He's probably going to knock this guy out, genuinely. So good for him, make the money. That's all. At least
if
you could
that's
say that.
if that's gonna be the case, then I'm gonna be pretty inclined to actually hear what he says in that post fight interview.
I'm not. I mean, it's probably just gonna be another recycled quote. Maybe he's gonna steal Nate Diaz's quote this time, change it up a little bit.
But it's more like you think they ask him who he wants next, or he just gives some generic answer to that or whatever.
I think they did the last time. I think he's one of those guys who just says, I'll fight anyone, anywhere. One of those types.
Lame.
And then says he's the best trash talker in the like, okay, whatever. God. I don't, hate him or anything. Like, he seems like a cool dude. It's just, the talking is just so cringy. It's like when Henry Cejudo fought and used to have... Remember when Henry Cejudo fought, Dominic Cruz? He had all those stupid pillows. It was, Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, and then he had Dominic Cruz, and he, kicked him. And he's like, I'm going to kick you like I just did this pillow. Like, what are you talking about, you loser? I shouldn't call Cejudo a loser. But... honestly, I hope Cejudo fights again. That's a guy that as much as I hate to admit this, I kind of miss him. I kind of miss him. But Ian Gary right now is just like, hey, if he comes out in this fight and drops a sick promo and it's his own words, I'll take it all back. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, probably won't be the case.
So. I predict an Ian Gary knockout and an Ian Gary recycled quote in his post-fight interview. Those are my two predictions for this fight. See if I go 2 for 2.
Too bad you can't. Too bad there's no prop. Too bad there's no prop for the quote part.
If we ever get enough money to really start up a sports book, we might have to do that. That might be part of our odds every Ian Gary fight. But
oh man!
If you wanna move on, I might be rambling about Ian Gary for a while.
Yeah, well, this one, I mean, because this one has an even bigger favorite than Ian Gary, but I think it has. It doesn't even matter. I think this is gonna be more exciting than that Ian Gary and Gabe Green fight, but also I'm so just I love the favorite here. I don't know what else to say. I'm super confident about this favorite, and I just think it's gonna be a dominant. If it even goes all 3 rounds, which I think it will. But talking about Andre Muniz minus 320 favorite taking on plus 265 Uriah Hall, and
I didn't even realize this fight was happening until this week. I was like, oh, okay.
For me, I don't think Uriah Hall is just going to be all that comfortable in there. Like I think Muniz is he's gonna be all over him. He's not gonna give him. I don't think he's gonna be really much any control to be given up to Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall.
I kind of agree.
Uriah Hall, he's gonna need that finish. Honestly,
and it's possible.
Obviously, exactly. Super positive. Like Uriah Hall's
this man knocked out Gegard Mousasi. Like that's pretty impressive. But it's just like, I don't know. I agree with you.
I just think Muniz is gonna overwhelm him in there, and I mean, I love it for that. Like I think that once again, I think the odds make a lot of sense. 9,200 as a DFS play, I think it makes a lot of sense in terms of finish upside as well.
I don't necessarily think it's gonna be like one of those like types of like dominant performances, like pillar to post, but I think it's like Uriah Hall is like one of those guys. Hear me out. Like, I'm not like saying that he's gonna lose or anything. I just think it's like, I think it's gonna be one of those things with either guy. I think it's gonna be a fairly quick finish. Like I think it's gonna be one mistake and then the fight's over. Whether it be Uriah Hall literally putting him into another shadow realm, or whether it be Muniz getting him down one time and submitting him. Like I just don't see this fight lasting long. Like what are the odds that this fight doesn't go the distance or something like that? Or actually, I don't know if it has it on like DraftKings, but like how they have like the over under like 1 round, over under 2 rounds.
Yeah,
they have that on there.
Fight prop? No, it's not round props.
That's kind of what I want to see. I should have looked this up before, but I just kind of thought of it.
Andre Muniz to win in round 1 is plus 110. So in that case, they're expecting.
They agree with me. I think
the first round finish for him, and then if it goes the distance, plus 550 for him to win by decision.
Yeah, I don't think it goes that far either way. I think that like. The difference here...
It's just, for me, it's like, if it does, I think it's going to be... Andre Muniz dominating Uriah Hall for the entire way.
See, but I think if he gets him on the ground, he's going to submit him. Like, whether it be in round 1, 2, or 3, doesn't make a difference. But I think he'll still be able to do it. I think he's just that good on the ground. I think, like, all of his wins are by submission.
I love this fight for him. I love the price tag. I love a lot of things about Andre Muniz this week. So,
for me, it's like... I think that there's... areas where Hall could like do well, but I think the thing is like Muniz could make a few mistakes and be okay, but if Uriah Hall makes like one mistake on the ground, I think he's screwed. So that's just me though.
And then because I really wanted to get your thoughts about this one in particular, so I'm gonna let you lead it. But this bout right here between Macy Barber and Jessica I think it's gonna be closer than what right now the books are reflecting. In terms of Macy Barber, she's a minus 280. She's minus 285 favorite here. Jessica as the underdog plus 240. I think it's gonna be it's not like egregiously like closer as to what the Macy Barber's odds to wins are, but I think it could be closer. I think it goes the whole way, and I like Macy Barber to win, but. Can she finish? Yeah, can she finish? Jessica?
I think it's possible. Like, I know she hasn't looked too great, I guess, in her last few fights, but the thing with Macy is just she's got insane power in her hands, especially for like a female 125 or like when you don't really see as many finishes down there as you do like other divisions. I think that Macy, she's got extraordinary power in her hands, and I think that it'll be a slugfest for as long as it lasts. But as long as because the thing with Macy is like.
Do you think
she's not
Jessica
good at controlling range?
Can get at least a round on the feet?
On the feet. No. Yeah, no. I think if she gets a round, it'd be from taking her down. Because I think she has a better ground game, but I don't think she's going to utilize it. I think she wants to have a war with Macy Barber. Because I think she can stand in the pocket.
Macy Barber is the minus 285. Like, honestly, that could be something that goes up. That for Macy Barber, like by the time we get to the fight, So
it's a tough one for Jessica. I'm not even I think this is going to be a good one as long as it lasts. But I don't know.
For me, it was just like if she could get around on the feet, and that's what I wanted to like let you lead it off for, because that's what I was like. I just wasn't.
I think like Jessica she's a really good boxer, like in the sense that she's good with throwing like fast combinations. But I think if she just keeps her head like in the pocket long enough against Macy Barber, she's gonna get cracked bad. And like Macy's not very, like, sometimes, people give her shit because you'll see those fights where she's throwing jabs and it looks like she's throwing them more towards, like, the announcer's table than she is her opponent. Like, it's like, some of them, like, they're just not even close, like, in terms of range, but I just think that she's getting better and better as the fights go on. I think she actually trains with Team Alpha Male now, too, and she's got some good training partners over there, so, yeah, I think she'll be able to get Jessica Eye in this one. Whether it be by finish, like you were kind of saying, I'm not sure. I think she'll at least be able to drop her, though, personally.
All right, so without further ado, that's just leading us right into it. We're going to start with the underdog, because this one, I had to actually think about this one through the show, and then we just saw the Robbie Lawler and Brian Barberena odds literally change right in front of us as we were talking about it. No, that was before.
No, okay. Oh yeah, true. I thought you were saying they changed again.
They didn't change again. They're still what they were before, but there's still plus money to be had. There's still plus money that I like, and it's risky, but like I'm gonna be like a drum at this point. Like these pay-per-views, especially like this one, you can be more risk averse and whatnot. And I'm just gonna send it, and I'm gonna rock with Brad Waddell at plus 125 right now as my.
I honestly might have to look again because I had Brian Barberena, who was like a lot. He was a lot. It was
dude.
It's changing, ever changing. Oh my god, I don't even know.
At first, for me, Brad Waddell, Jalen Turner, it's like I just hope it's a great fight. I don't even want to pick somebody, but man, I gotta go with something. Brad Waddell plus 125 is literally just staring at me right there.
I can't even pick. I can't even It's not. It's just like
Brad Tavares. I mean,
that would probably be the one because, like I said before, I had Brian Barberena, but now it's like pretty much a pick 'em, so I don't even want to go with that one, but. I'm not confident in it, but yeah, I'm going to go Brad Tavares because that was my second choice anyway. So, I'm going to go with it. Brad Tavares.
You might as well, man.
He could do it. It's definitely, he's got the boxing. Because, the thing with that boxing style sometimes is, it's able to, disrupt that technical striking. But I'm not sure if he can do that against Dricus Du Plessis, but I think it's definitely possible.
If he can just...
That's tough, though.
Yeah. I guess if he can just stifle Du Plessis and just,
That's what I'm saying, walk him down and don't let him dictate the pace on the feet. Just make it a dog fight. Kind of like what I said,
just
Strickland should do.
Just don't get hit as much. You're gonna get hit. Just don't have them be significant strikes. Is really all I can think of. But
yeah, that's a interesting one. Not a lot of underdogs that I like on this card though. Sadly,
this lock though came relatively more easier and whatnot. I was even I was even considering it, really going balls to the wall. And then when he was still a favorite, going with Robbie Lawler as my lock of the night. But then I was just like,
I don't know. Even if I thought he was going to win, I'd be a little, just because of his age. But
that seemed like a little much. But, I was kind of hinting at it before. And kind of the main reason why I want to touch on that fight, too, between Uriah Hall and Andre Muniz. Before O'Malley, he's the second largest favorite. After Adesanya and before O'Malley, he's the second largest favorite on the card. But I think they got it right. They really got it right with this one. And I love all of Muniz's way to getting a dominant victory one way or another. So I'm just gonna ride with it.
That's a fair one. I mean, judging by all the gear, probably people think it's I'm gonna pick O'Malley as my lock of the night, but I'm not. My lock of the night honestly might be kind of a surprise to some people, but my lock of the night is Alex Volkanovski. I just don't see him losing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him losing. This guy's looked literally unstoppable lately. I think his confidence is at an all-time high. I think Holloway is coming in with something to prove, but I think that's going to be more of a detriment than it is helping him. Because I think that just means he's going to come at him harder, which I think means he's going to get hit a lot more. I don't think he's going to finish him because, Volkanovski's been saying that he wants to be the first guy to drop him in the UFC. I don't know if that happens. But I think this one looks a lot more like the first fight than it does the second fight. I think that Volkanovski's going to win this one. I think he's going to win it clearly.
Clearly as well. Then I think I asked you when we were talking about it, honestly. It might have been a different fight, but I didn't remember asking if one certain spread was, I think it was for Volk too, with the -195. Was either like, just perfect to you, or you thought like it should be higher?
Yeah. Well, I think it's good just considering the way the first two fights went.
Yeah.
But that's how you have to make odds. I feel like you can't say that Volkanovski's like should be a huge favorite because you think that he could do this. I could say I think all these things, but then anything could happen in MMA. That's the crazy part of it. So it's just I just see I think momentum is a very big deal, and I think Volkanovski's past two title fight wins have just been nothing short of incredible. That fight versus the Korean Zombie, in my top 3 probably for the best championship performances I think I've ever seen. Not one point in that Korean Zombie fight did I think that Volkanovski had any chance of losing. That's how dominant that performance was, and I think he's going to be riding the high off that into this one, and I think he really is going to put it on Max in this one.
Yeah, this is going to be such a close but exciting card. I mean, wow. Yeah, this is seeing this thing for the first time when it was officially announced and whatnot. I was just so taken aback. I was like, oh my goodness, man, they really went all out for this one. But
to think that Misha Tate and Lauren Murphy was going to be on there too.
Exactly.
That's on the Long Island card now, but I thought it was funny when that fight got called off. Misha said something on Instagram. It was the next person, whoever it is in the cage, I'm going to invoke violence on them. And one of the top comments was some guy, he goes, so Misha's basically saying she's going to aggressively feint at air for 5 rounds against Lauren Murphy. I was like, that's pretty good. Yeah. Misha's gotten better on the feet, but she's kind of like Macy Barber sometimes, in the sense that when she throws a jab, sometimes it's nowhere near her opponent.
Yeah.
But Misha's a great fighter. I'm not taking away from her, but I think that's cool though that fight's getting rescheduled onto the Yair versus Ortega card. I think that's a good spot for it.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a banger of a card no matter what. I remember I saw the lineup for it a couple weeks ago. That card's looking good. I can't wait to talk about that one when the time comes. But right now we got International Fight Week to tackle.
Yep, and it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait. But, yeah, I hope you guys feel the same. As always, maybe a lot of money. And then, of course, we'll see you talk about it. All of UFC 276 action and combat sports in general, the weekend's action, whatever it is, whatever it's going to give to us, we're going to be breaking it down, of course. And, yeah, can't wait to see it all unfold. So we will see you Monday.